All right, so class, welcome to our class. This is module 13, and we are in our 12th week of this semester. And today we are going to talk about the philosophy of St. Thomas Aquinas. So what can we expect after this lesson is that at the end of this module, you are expected to get a brief background of angelic doctor and to learn the natural law. And of course, to understand St. Thomas Aquinas' definitions of happiness. Right, so first of all, who was St. Thomas Aquinas? And why do we need to understand his understanding of natural law and philosophy of happiness? So St. Thomas Aquinas is also known as a Doctor Angelicus or angelic doctor. That is because of his chastity that remained with him until he died. You know, angels are pure, and St. Thomas Aquinas is also pure, and he was also a doctor of the church. That is why he was called as angelic doctor. So he was born in 1224 at Racoseca near Aquino in Sicily, where he got his surname Aquinas. He died on March 7, 1274 at Fasanova, Italy, and was canonized as saint on July 18, 1323. So he was an Italian Dominican theologian. So when we say theologians, so there's someone who is studying God and one of the leading scholars of the medieval period. He developed his own conclusions based on the Aristotelian logic, notably in the study of metaphysics. Or metaphysics is the study of the existence of God, the personality, the creations, and even the providence of the universe. So as a theologian, he was responsible for the masterpieces like Summa Theologica, a compendium of church teaching for the laity, and also the Summa Contra Gentiles, which is a guidebook for missionaries who might debate other religions such as Muslims and Jews in the East. He was also a poet, and he wrote some of the most gravely beautiful Eucharistic hymns for church services. I have mentioned a while ago about the compendium word, which is the Summary of Theology. When we say compendium, that means that everything that we should know about the theology is there in this book. And it is written in a very good, what do we call this, concise and detailed also. In other words, a lot of information about the theologies in this book, Summa Theologica. So St. Thomas Aquinas are not. Here in the Philippines, we have a lot of rights and even the law of commerce, the natural law, which is, is it easy to follow? Somehow we may do good and avoid evil. What is moral dilemma? This thing is kind of hard in our own unique way, is actually doable. Avoiding evil, whatever sizes, whatever, what we call this, weight of the evil deeds, need to avoid it. Why? Because human is born intrinsically good and being molded in the image and likeness of God. And it is even installed in our body to do good and avoid evil to all human being. So St. Thomas Aquinas based in this doctrine on the aforementioned law, do good and avoid evil, being a prelate himself. Based on his theory, the law is a reflection of the eternal law. In other words, if you find this law easy to follow, then maybe you are ready to be in heaven. We can also conclude that if this is the reflections of eternal law, then this natural law, when we follow it, it is the same as we are also practicing how to follow the eternal law. If you find this hard, then maybe it is hard for you to enter heaven. So follow it, do good and avoid evil. Now, in order to explain the existence of eternal law, St. Thomas Aquinas gave a definition of all the laws. He said that law is an ordinance of reasons promulgated by the one in charge of the society. In other words, this law that we have here, even in this country that we're living, is not made just for the reason. Every level of life is being scrutinized and examined whether this law is applicable or not for them. Another idea is that laws are dictated by reasons, and it is the reasons or intellect of the ruler or the lawmaker that propels the creations of law. In other words, hindi basta-basta ginawa yung law. There are a lot of things to be considered. And this natural law, do good and avoid evil, is also made out from that. Promulgated by reasons for the one who is making this one, and dictated by reason and the intellect of the ruler or the maker of the law. So the purpose of the law is for a well-ordered functions of a community under the sovereign's grace. Right? We have heard about concepts. We believe that God is knowledgeable about everything. Now, the natural law, which is an extension of the eternal law, applies to all human beings. And this requires greater precisions because of the fact that we have reasons and free will. What do I mean by this? There are some times that we violate certain laws. Why? Because we take it easy. We don't strictly adhere to it. If we broke some laws, there will be sanctions, punishment. But this natural law, as easy as it is being stated, we need to be precise on it. We need to strictly adhere to it. That is why, as applicable to all human beings, it requires greater precisions. God is asking us, indeed, perfections to follow the law or the natural law. It is the nature of humans to act freely by being free from the outside interventions and coercions, by synchronizing our acts and ends. That is something that we have talked before about. When you do something, you have to think over and over again whether those are good or bad. Okay, since we have free will, we can do whatever we want, whether it is evil or good. But we have to see to it that those actions and our purpose of doing so is in line of the morality of human being. Okay? That is why we need to synchronize our acts and our purpose. Every action should be meaningful and in line with the ethical standards. Human being must exercise our natural reason to discover what is best for us in order to achieve and the end of which our nature inclines. Natural law tells us that it is natural for humans to achieve our ends through reasons and free will. All right? In other words, the natural law is humans' participation in the eternal law through reason, and this reasoning should help us discern what is good from evil, so that it will give us a happy, contented life. The philosophy of happiness and the universal man. Universal man refers to us, the one who is talking or the one who is listening, the whole being of us. So in relations to human happiness, Aristotle and St. Thomas Aquinas agreed that man is constantly searching for happiness. But St. Thomas believed that the immortality of human soul happiness can be achieved, and it can be found in God alone. The universal man, according to Aristotle, whom he also calls the whole man, the reasonable man, St. Thomas believed that while man exists on earth, he must possess eternal, infinite perfections. That is a fact. That is something that we should practice by following the natural law with strict adherence and high precision. Despite the presence of material things, things that sometimes makes us feel happy, man is not perfectly happy. Why? Because everything here on earth will eventually come to an end. And if we found happiness in these material things, we have to always think. But then we have experienced happiness with it. In the afterlife, will be more. Our happiness is mortal, finite purpose. Our perfect. Now my question is, would you like this happiness that will never end? Yes or yes? Then you have to follow the the natural law. Practice. All right, so that's actually how short our topic this morning. Thank you. I have prepared a video